So the TED Talk analysis presentation that I picked is A Juror's Reflection on the Death Penalty. It is by Lindy Lou Eisenhood. The purpose of this TED Talk speech was by Ms. Eisenhood to inform potential jurors of the emotions a person could deal with when being selected to a juror that has to deliver the verdict of death penalty. It seems that she also would like to use her platform to change laws about the death penalty as well and have the court provide counseling for the jurors. Ms. Eisenhood discusses a time when she served in a death penalty case in Mississippi. In her speech, Ms. Eisenhood relays her experience of being part of a jury who voted for the punishment of the death penalty for the defendant in the case. Even though Ms. Eisenhood believed that the defendant was guilty, her decision to put this man to death caused her lifelong guilt. Ms. Eisenhood was able to speak from experience as a prior juror in a case where they implemented the death penalty. However, she does not have a lot of evidence that most jurors feel the same as her. She was able to speak with some of the jurors that served with her in that trial. She spoke to 7 jurors. 2 of them were okay with the decision, and 4 of them were bothered similarly to her about the decision. So statistically, out of the ones she spoke with, more were bothered than unbothered. But that's still not enough statistical evidence to show that most people that serve as juries in death penalty cases are bothered. I don't think that she was effective in trying to convince that laws and jury instructions should be changed, but she didn't have enough evidence to back that up. Her entire speech was a play on emotions. She talks about how the decision as a juror for the death penalty affected her life even 20 years later. She needed counseling to work through her feelings of guilt. She even needed to meet with the defendant in the case to work through forgiveness from him. I think she's effective in her technique in getting you to understand where she's coming from and try to place yourself in her shoes. But I don't think that she was effective in trying to convince of the laws that needed to be changed. I do think that Ms. Eisenhood's credibility was good. She was a potential juror. She did have the knowledge because she served on the jury for a death penalty case. She was able to speak on some, but not all, so her credibility is a little limited. She did not have enough information for first-hand knowledge that her experience and feelings are still not discredited, though. She was pretty organized throughout her speech. There was a clear introduction. It was attention-grabbing. And it also let you know the topic of discussion. She was missing some clear transitions, but you were able to follow along her speech. Her conclusion was brief, but she closed the speech well. Ms. Eisenhood did a great job delivering her speech. She did not use any verbal fillers, but she did take a lot of pauses. Sometimes I felt like they were too long pauses, but I think it was because she was trying to give a dramatic effect. She was very confident in her delivery. Overall, Ms. Eisenhood did a great job in relaying the emotional turmoil of being a juror in a death penalty case. I don't think that she would be effective in persuading someone who is for the death penalty to now be against the death penalty. She did not mention the victim of the family who the defendant was guilty of murdering. The court system is in place for a reason, but without taking away from the emotions each juror felt, they did as they should and followed the instructions they were given. I do think she was effective in relaying the need for counseling for the jurors, however. Thank you.